Okay, so today in Everyday Lessons in the Bible, we are in Psalms 126 through 128. And so 126 is talking about restored, how the Lord freed you from bondage and restored all that you had lost. And I know that's happened for me, where just a lot of bad stuff happened and I lost so much. And God has just been restoring all that I have lost. And so that's just it. You know, when you read scriptures like this, it just always gives you more hope, and more strength to keep moving forward. And so, he fills you with laughter and joy, and he restores you to your former glory, which I love. And then sometimes even better than before, so sometimes restores you back to your former glory, or you're in such a better place, like where you're like, oh, it all makes sense now, or wow, I'm so glad I had to go through that to be where I am today. And that's how I feel for myself is, did I have to go through all of this stuff to be where I am today with the Lord? Absolutely. And yes, I have so many regrets and things I wish I'd done differently. But I know that I wouldn't have the relationship that I have with the Lord today had I not walked through those things. And so when you get to the other side of things, that's when you can really see how much God has restored to you. And so then we can say, gosh, do it again, do it again, Lord, and because then when you start to walk through another hard season, you can say, I know God's going to do it again, because he did it then, he'll do it again. And so, you just look at your life and you can see the great things that God has done. At least I hope so. Sometimes it's hard to see when you're in the middle of stuff, but there will come a time where you can look back and you can see all the great and wonderful things that he has done. And so if you sow little, you reap little. But if you sow what you have, no matter how little it is, if you sow what you have, from the goodness of your heart, like you just love the Lord. And so it's like, it's like you hear scriptures in the word where somebody gave all they had to the Lord, and it was so little, but God blessed them so much. The harvest was plentiful, and I just think about that for us. We go through life and we struggle, and God just wants to bless us, but he wants to see our faithfulness first. And so, he's not going to trust you with much if you're not faithful with the little. So just always try to remember that. And so the next Psalms was God and his gifts. And so unless God is in it, it is useless. And that's just the truth. If God's not in it, what's the point? You want to reap the harvest of what God has been in with you, not from your own toil and your own labor, but from what God has asked you to toil, because if it's not of God, then it's all in vain. So, I just think about that all the time of if I put my hands to the plow of something that God's not wanting me to be a part of, then there's not going to be a lot of fruit from it. But if it's something God's called me to, then there will be much fruit from it, much harvest from it. And so God calls us not to be anxious about anything, because we trust him and he's our provider and he takes care of us. He takes care of our children. He takes care of his children, and he takes care of those who are devoted to him. And so children are a blessing to the Lord. And when you walk in the goodness and the grace and the mercy of God and doing the things that he wants you to do, you're blessed, your children are blessed, and your children's children are blessed. And so, parents will one day take care of, of you, you as a parent, your children will take care of you one day. And so you've got to keep, remembering that the children are a blessing to you, just like we are a blessing to God. And so your children, they need you, but then you're going to need them. And so they are such a blessing. And so just kind of always remember what a blessing they are. And then Psalms 128 is the blessing of the Lord. And so, obey the Lord and he will bless you. If you're being disobedient to the Lord, then you're falling outside of the blessing. And blessings are those that fear the Lord. And, to me, the fear of the Lord is the awe and reverence of who God is, but also knowing his great power. And if you walk away, what does that actually look like for you? And to me, that's the fear of the Lord, is knowing what he's capable of, who he is, his glory, his majesty, his honor, in reverence of him, fall at his feet, in awe of who he is. And so it's not just to respect him and so you obey him. No, it's because of, you can respect somebody and obey them, but you're doing that because of the consequences to me. I love the Lord. I don't want to be outside of his covering, his blessing in my life. I can't even imagine walking through life without that covering, without that blessing. And so, to me, that's where all of that kind of comes into place. And so, God blesses those who walks in his ways and not their own. And it's like, and in the scripture, it talks about how a wife fills the home with love, because that's what women are good at, of loving others, taking care of others. And children bring joy to the home. And the man is blessed because he has the fear of the Lord. And so to have the fear of the Lord, he's going to walk rightly with the Lord. And I just think that's so important, you've got to walk rightly with the Lord. And that our children are such a gift. They're a gift from God. Our grandchildren are a gift from God. And that if you will walk in that blessing, then you will be blessed, your children will be blessed, and your children's children will be blessed. And I just think that's what we all want, right? We all want that. And so, and we all want that peace and assurance from the Lord and in our heart and in our lives. And so I just pray that for you today.